One of the things that I found most fascinating when I started going into your work was the idea that the Ark of the Covenant exists in Ethiopia.
That's what brought me into this field. Before that, I wrote all about current affairs.
That story is so nuts, and it sounds so ridiculous, and people, you go, what? The Ark of the Covenant's real? But then when you go into the history of these people that live there, and they all suffered radiation poisoning, and it's like, wait a minute.
Cataracts over their eyes.
Yeah.
And let's not forget that there's an indigenous population of Old Testament Jews in Ethiopia, the Falashas, who have their own story about how the Ark of the Covenant got there.
Right.
Different from the Ethiopian national epic, which is called the Kebra Nagast, the glory of kings. That's why I got into this field. I was a current affairs guy, and Ethiopia was on my beat, and I just kept on coming across this story, and I realized it was central to Ethiopian culture, and I decided to investigate it and explore it, and it led to The Sign and the Seal, which was published in 1992, and that's what set me on the path to Fingerprints of the Gods and everything that followed that.
So who is getting the cataracts?
The guardian of the Ark. This is a monk who is appointed. The place is Aksum in the province of Tigray in northern Ethiopia. It's a massively interesting place. Aksum has these huge granite stelae. They're very similar in many ways to ancient Egyptian obelisks. They're a bit different in shape, but same sort of height, some of them going 110 feet high, cut out of solid granite, right up there in the highlands of Ethiopia. And then they have an ancient church, the Church of St. Mary, cathedral actually of St. Mary of Zion, where the Ark apparently was kept for hundreds and hundreds of years. Before that it was kept elsewhere, and then now it's been moved into a chapel that stands next to St. Mary of Zion Cathedral. And that chapel is guarded by armed men. The whole town is an armed camp that is protecting what they believe to be the Ark of the Covenant, but it's guarded particularly by one guy who is the official guardian of the Ark, and he's elected by other monks to be the guardian of the Ark, and several of them have run away when they get that election, because once you're elected as the guardian of the Ark, when the previous one has died, you're going to be kept in that chapel forever. You'll never be allowed to leave it. So they're close to whatever this object is. They're close to it. And I met 3 of them over a succession of years, because their mortality is once they're appointed, they die very soon. And they all had these cataracts over their eyes, and they all blamed the object in that chapel, whether or not it's the Ark, for causing their blindness.
Wow.
So it's
and no one is going in there and trying to get to the bottom of it. They won't let you.
They won't let you. They won't let you. And
Can you bribe them?
No.
It seems like someone should go look.
Yeah.
What the hell is that?
Yeah.
What's in there? I mean, if we really find out the Ark of the Covenant was an actual object.
I think it was an actual object.
And you think it was some nuclear something or another? Like,
I don't know what it was. I think it's what is rightly described as an out-of-place artifact. Because if you look at the description in the book of Exodus, the very precise dimensions of it, I think in modern terms we'd say 3 feet 9 inches long by 2 feet 3 inches high and wide. It's got a layer of gold, it's got a layer of wood, it's got another layer of gold. It's very precisely specified, like a blueprint in the book of Exodus. And then it does all this stuff. It shoots out jets of fire and kills completely innocent people. It kills 50,000 Philistines in the city of Ashdod when they briefly capture it from the Israelites and make the mistake of treating it like a tourist object, and they open the Ark of the Covenant and look inside, and suddenly everybody in that city is dying, and what they're dying of is cancerous tumors. This is described in the Old Testament. So it's intriguing that this object is so precisely specified and is reported to have done these terrible things.
It's just insane that we know where it is.
Well, we know that I believe Ethiopia has a very strong claim to it, but that's all I can say, because I've not seen it myself. I've been right outside the door of that sanctuary chapel several times. But
did you bring a Geiger counter?
No. That would be a good thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine it was going nuts as you got close.
That would be a good thought.
I mean, it's not like it's going to be, if it's radioactive, it's not like it's going to be contained just this one small area. You're going to have traces of it that leak out.
That's true. It would be a good way to
especially if people are getting cataracts from being in the room with it.
Yeah.
And so 3 different people you talk to have cataracts from that.
Yeah, and they all blame the Ark. And one of them, it's a resonant phrase, which sticks in my memory. I asked him why, and he said the Ark is a thing of fire. Just that.
Did he describe it to you?
He did describe it as a box, rather like the biblical description, unsurprisingly. But
did he describe what it looked like the outside of it?
Gold.
Gold.
Mm-hmm. Gold.
Wow.
And of course, gold is a very good insulator against radiation. I don't want to go too far down this track. To me,
Too speculative.
The fascinating thing is that Ethiopia is the only country in the world that actually claims to have the Ark of the Covenant. That it's central to religion and culture in Ethiopia today. That there's much to support that argument, particularly in the form of the Falashas, the Ethiopian Jews, and their very ancient traditions about how they got to Ethiopia in the first place. In context of all of that, I think Ethiopia has a very good claim. Very interesting claim, and that's why I wrote a book about it.
That one to me is just like, we know where it is.
Yeah.
That one to me is so crazy that someone is keeping that information from the rest of the humans.
Yeah.
Because if we found out the Ark of the Covenant was in fact a real object and we know where it is and it does match the description in the Bible, that kind of changes everything. Now all of a sudden the Bible is not just stories and myths. The Bible is some sort of a historical record.
Yeah. Well, let's not forget that one of the world's best known flood myths also comes from the Bible, which is the flood of Noah.
Right.
Which again is part of this worldwide tradition of which I am absolutely convinced Atlantis should be understood as a part of that worldwide tradition of a global flood and the loss of a former civilization. And again, it's one of the reasons why I've done the work I've done over these years.